up and running, and if you don't have productivity, success and excellence as the mantra you'll be pushing, then you need to reflect and realign yourself with what's going to be happening for the day. The Kickstarter discussion, we are taking a reality check on the Kawempe North By Election and how what is being described as strategic violence takes shape and distorts elections ahead of the voting on March the 14th. But also we shall take a look at how civil-military relations play out, especially in Uganda's election cycle. There are those that are saying that what we have witnessed so far in Kawempe North in terms of the violence meted out against supporters of specific candidates are simply early warning signs, and the litmus test has been passed as on what is coming up ahead of 2026. Will the security forces come out in full swing to ensure that law and order is maintained? Will the opposition also go out in full force to ensure that their agenda and ideology is kept intact? Well, that is a contestation, and as the media, we are hoping that all parties responsible are exercising restraint at every step of this election process. We would like to pay special commendation to the fact that there was a dying down on that violence, especially after a lot of noise was made from the incidents that involved the NUP. As the force is concerned, we are hoping you work towards ensuring that there isn't any more violence that is meted out to the people. In studio today, I have with me Fred Bamwine. Fred Bamwine is a commissioner in the President's Office on electoral process occurrences. He'll be talking to us on that. I also have with me in studio Madam Hanifah Karadi. She's an independent candidate in the Kawempe North By Election, and she is one of the candidates who are seeking this particular position to replace the now deceased Muhammad Segirinya. But before I interface with you gentlemen and lady, just a reminder that a total of 10 people were nominated to fill the vacant seat. They include the independents, Hanifah Karadi, who is with us here today, Alex Muhammad Luswa Luwemba, Mahamud Mtazindwa, Moses Nsereko, and Stanley Edward Ngema Maitum. The National Unity Platform has Elias Luimbazi Nalukola, FDC has Sadat Muchibi, Elias Khalifa Aganaga, NRM has Farida Nambi Chigongo, DP has Henry Kasacha Mbiru, while the PPP has Ismail Musitwa. The campaigns kicked off on March the 1st and are expected to end tomorrow, with voters set to cast their ballots on Thursday. Madam Karadi and Mr. Bamwine, welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you so much.
Let me begin with the candidate, because Kawempe North is the subject matter and a lot has been going on. But first things first, as I came on air, I got conflicting reports about the fact that independent candidate Hanifah Karadi had dropped out of the race in favor of Nambi Farida of the National Unity, of the National Resistance Movement rather. And here I am with you, and the story is different. Is it a case of fake news? Help clarify this matter.
Sure. Good morning, our viewers and our presenter, our moderator in NTV.
Thank you.
First of all, that is a propaganda. It is a fake propaganda. I'm moving on. Even yesterday I was in my last parish, which is Chemando, where I actually come from. And we are moving on as Team Hanifah Karadi, but that shows the panic that is in the NRM flag bearers team. As the Team Hanifah Karadi, we are moving on. We are moving on as Team Hanifah Karadi. We are moving on. We are moving on as Team Hanifah Karadi. 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 We are moving on as Team there's nothing like that. That is a negotiation between me and the NRM flag bearer. There's nothing like that. We are moving on, and we are telling our people, my symbol is a clock. We are moving on, and we are doing very, very well.
Let's be very clear. Have you been approached for the possibility of dropping out and maybe have not accented to that, or there isn't anything?
There isn't anything like negotiating with me. There is no one that has talked to me about coming to join the NRM flag bearer. If anything, most of the people, of course, they are scared. They are seeing that the independent NRM leaning she has a lot of support on ground. I've always told those that in the background, those who want to, who are thinking of Hanifah joining the flag bearer, that let the flag bearer join me, because a weak person cannot, you cannot join a weak person. Let the weak person actually join me. After all, I'm NRM leaning. But most of all, my mobilization is inclusive. I'm inviting all people. The support I have now is not only NRM. I have a big percentage of NRM supporting me. I have a big support from those who don't have parties. I have a big support from other parties that are not happy with their parties. I'm a unifying factor right now in Kawempe North. That's why you hearing all those moving around because of the panic, not only in NRM, but also in NUP and other parties. They are panicking about the independent Hanifah Karadi, because I'm a unifying factor, and my mobilization skill has been that of inclusiveness. And the people of Kawempe are tired of parties, because it has been pull and push factor. And then at the end of that day, they are not getting services. They end up, fighting for colors here, there. So they are like, I think this time around, if we can have a neutral person who doesn't have parties, who doesn't belong to parties, and if anything, my manifesto is that unifying manifesto, pro-people manifesto, that is touching the issues of Kawempe North.
Interesting their perspective about neutrality and how it's the best ticket in provision of services. Mr. Fred Bamwine, from the perspective of the National Resistance Movement, having an independent on board is not the best possible scenario the NRM wants, but many times often finds itself in that position. The whole idea of independent candidates is one that is also kind of controversial. It kind of leads to a contestation of loyalty and breaking apart the ticket, so to speak, and the support that any one candidate, if they were to choose to run for the party, would take on. What's your take on this whole independent candidates running time and again when they could actually make a strong case for a party flag bearer?
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers and my colleagues who are here. My name is Bamwine, and I'm a commissioner in the President's Office, RDC Secretariat. What you are seeing as independent candidates, for me, it exonerates me. In 2005, we went into a referendum. And the question that time was whether we should go multi-party or not. And at that time, I belonged to the group which was saying Uganda is not ready for multi-party.
Which group was that?
It was the group, there are two groups. One advocating for multipartyism, and others were saying, no, let us first have been the movement for all of us together.
That's right.
But the agitation of the donors, those who believe in the parties, coerced the environment and were defeated. But the good thing is that in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, because I think 269, it says when one political party, one political system is in place, another one will be in abeyance. So we said, okay, you have gone that way because of the pressure from the Europeans, but it's not the right system for Uganda. Because at that time, we were voting people according to their capabilities, what we call individual merit. In fact, it was individual merit, broad-based, non-sectarian, all that. So down the road, I think this is, how many, 20-something years, from 2005. It is proved time by time that people in Uganda are not yet ready for multipartyism. And what you are seeing now is the hangover for individual merit. And, you know, the challenge is that most people like to copy. The theory of the whites is that multipartyism is equal to democracy. And democracy does not mean that you must have many parties. You can have democracy within one organization. So that's one. Two, as the situation is now, it tells a lot the internal democracy of parties. Because the challenge is that you cannot provide what you don't have.
That's right.
So you cannot claim to be playing democracy, and you don't want to have democracy within the party. Internal democracy, the internal parties of the democracy within the parties. That's why you have people now, she's saying she's NRM leaning. Now what is leaning? If I was her,
is what they are
if I was her, I would call myself NRM. If you are NRM, you are NRM.
The layout doesn't allow.
There is no any other name.
NRM
yeah, but you remained a member of NRM until you are dismissed. But as long as you are not dismissed, you are a member of NRM.
Great.
If you saw the other parties, of course, but I was analyzing candidates of NUP, I think has about 5 or so leaning. So really, to me, like for instance, Karadi and others, I think what if we in the current environment, it would be better if you think that the internal democracy of a party is not working well, you don't participate in their primaries, in their initial arrangement. So that you come from the word go, you are independent.
As not an NRM.
And unfortunately, the parliament did not pass it. But that would be the ideal situation. And I don't see why parliament did not pass it. Because there are people who would wish to stand as individuals.
That is right.
As Ugandans. But parliament refused to pass it. Now they are gagging everybody, you must belong.
All right.
That's the
interesting.
scenario. But
allow me,
it's a developing situation.
It's a developing situation. Allow me engage Honorable Gorreth Namugga, the MP for Maugola County, on account of this whole independent candidate scenario. Within the workings of Parliament and legislation, when it comes to voting, we have seen contestations of whether the leaning MPs will vote in favor of the party to which they are leaning, or the ones that are expected to vote the way they express themselves in terms of leaning actually don't vote that way. It does create a bit of a problem. You as a legislator, how does this play out?
Good morning, dear viewers, and I want to also extend my appreciation to my colleagues, the leaders, who have made time this morning to come here. The roads are the traffic jam is simply too much, but I want to thank you for having the time to share your views with the viewers. When it comes to multi-party dispensation, I will to some extent agree with the Honorable Bamwine that somehow we are not ready. Because if you come to Parliament and you look at the numbers that we have as independents, I think we are getting to close to 100. But
very significant.
Yes.
Yeah.
But most of them are NRM. Most of them, actually 99% of the independents are NRM. If you look at those of our colleagues who came on independent ticket without participating in the NRM primaries, that is a very, very small portion. So that speaks back to the democracy in our parties, but also for us as the leaders to agree when we do participate in party primaries. Actually, it would be discipline that you step back, because if you want to come as an independent, automatically don't participate if you don't agree with how they handle their primaries. But still, there is always a window for appeals in political parties. How have these ones been handled? Because sometime back in the 2021 elections, you saw how issues were, I will say, in the NRM party, because they used to claim that in NUP we don't hold primaries. So when it comes to the party primaries, I will give them largely as an example, because they existed for the last 40 years. and we would expect that the democracy in internal in the party itself, yes, in the party itself would be close to 98%. So when you look at the way the appeals were handled, so many of the people who came as independent MPs claimed that even in the appeals, the way they were handled, I mean, they were very lacking. So I think before even we look at our colleagues as a problem to the political parties, we also need to look at internally how we handle the political party democracy within the political parties themselves. Because actually you will see many coming on board as independents because of the conflicts within political parties. When it comes to my party as a new party, we also have challenges internally, but we are sorting ourselves out. You saw how we handled the primaries for Kawempe North. I would say Kawempe North was a bit unique because of the timing. It was so short a time to go through a very democratic process, but we tried. We made it open, online for everyone, at least to have a look at how the 10 candidates in the NUP participation were, the 10 of them. I don't know what happened in the NRM, but for me, I was just told that Nambi, is she Nambi Adija? Nambi has been Farida Nambi has been nominated at the NRM candidate.
No, many times the NRM has workings that are well known. For example, the executive committee might sit and decide that we're having this one.
No, but when the executive sits, then that brings in another element. I think that is why my sister Karadi now comes up. Okay. If the executive sat, how was Karadi considered? Was she part of the discussions of the executive? Because if you are to take such a kind of direction, you must have these of your candidates sat down to agree on how the process should proceed. And remember, they are your members. Karadi is a member of the NRM, and she has a right to be explained to about the ongoing within the party. Yeah, the workings within the party. So you cannot say, Farida has at least that upper favoritism, being a daughter of a SEC member. That is why she's, time, I mean, you should agree as the NRM this time. It wasn't as democratic as such. I think the big wings in the party also want to bring their daughters on board. That is why you are seeing a much force in Kawempe, deployment everywhere. And I want to talk to appeal to my colleague Bamwine. I've seen this gentleman for quite some time, and I've been telling him, we have so many, somehow, somewhere, we are friends on media, we meet several. We meet several.
You're friends officially.
We are friends on media.
Okay.
So we find ourselves in several spaces. But when you see the informalities in Kawempe in regard to deployment of RDCs, you have over 170 RDCs in Kawempe. RDCs, I saw them myself yesterday. Those that I know, I saw them.
Mr. Bamwine will be telling us about that.
Yes, they are moving with groups. Every RDC was given 30-30. They have been allocated places. RDC, DSOs, and the GISOs, they have been brought from different areas. We have deployments of the forces, UPDF, police, but this time in layer. They are in layer, they are not in uniform. Plain clothes, they are plain clothes, they are down there. But the threatening that is taking place in Kawempe speaks to having the children of the big wing in such elections. This speaks, Karadi, don't take this one for granted. I want you to relate it to Zimbabwe. This is you always watch that conflict within Maogola North, between the Honorable Sam Kutesa's daughter. You watched it, Sam Kutesa and Sodo.
We follow.
Yeah, you follow. So Kawempe has turned into another area of war, and for us as the national platform, we are not going to take it for granted.
That's the dimension within this particular election that works for the inner dynamics of the national unity platform. Stay with you within the context of independent candidates very shortly before you can respond, and then I come to you on how you're going to revolutionize independent legislation. If, for example, 2026, the NUP ticket, you don't secure the NUP ticket as the MP for Maogola, and then you seek, yet you still want to be a member of parliament, but the NUP ticket eludes you. Are you saying right now, or can you give the assurance that you will not seek an independent door into parliament?
That is such an interesting question, which largely speaks to the internal democracy within the party. If my party does it well, and I'm convinced that I've been won democratically, I'll automatically move out. let me inform the viewers that, you know, at times you also come to a contestation and you believe that Karadi is better than me. We are also there. You know, there are times when you get there and see, you know, Bamwine is better than Namugga. So I want to tell the viewers, for me, when it comes to 2026, I do participate in my party primaries, and I'm won democratically. I will not come back as an independent. I'm speaking it today here. Okay. Get my word. If it comes to 2026, I'm telling you.
It's all down to you being convinced that the process has been democratic.
On record. I know the party has internal processes that we must go through. Okay. And if I'm not convinced, there are processes of appeal. If I go all through those democratically, I'll step aside. All right. Interesting there. Mr. Bamwine, responding very shortly on the number of resident district commissioners that have been deployed in this particular election in Kawempe, but within the context of independent candidates. Madam Karadi, if you win the election for Kawempe North and you become the new member of parliament, how does legislating as an independent sound to you? And what assurances, for example, are there that you will look at legislation and voting independently without necessarily going or towing the line of the national resistance movement, as has been the case with many independent candidates?
Thank you so much. Before I respond to that, Honorable brought for me some echoed. If there was any democratic process in NRM, indeed there was no any, even the viewers, they just heard that there is a flag bearer who is Nambi.
No primaries were held.
No primaries were held.
No
and
consultation.
No consultations. No that executive order that came up. There was nothing like that. Two, when that happened, I had to make an appeal. As a royal NRM supporter, I made an appeal to the chairman, CC'd to the SG, the Secretary General, and then the Electoral Commission Chairman, Tango Doi. I didn't get any response or any intervention to my appeal.
You're on record, by the way, on national TV.
Yes. Yeah. Nothing was intervened on that case. So I had to move on. My rights and even my supporters. So we had to move on. That I need that to be cleared. That I tried to follow up, to make an appeal, but it was not there. And also come up to think, like Bamwine, and I've always also, I was also on the other part that we are not ready for multi-party ever since this started. When we come back to Kawempe, it is also a testimony that indeed we are not ready for multi-party system in Uganda. When you look at the members of parliament that are independent, they are increasing every day. They're increasing every day, not only in NRM but also in other parties. But when it comes to NRM, there are many, and that speaks volumes. Why? So right now, if I enter parliament, of course, one, the people of Kawempe are supporting my manifesto as a people manifesto. It is the manifesto that, of course, I will have to work on to implement it. That is on the cases, on the issues that concern the people of Kawempe North. When you enter parliament, and maybe you are NRM leaning, of course, NRM comes up to say, you come and make a memorandum. You support the party. Yeah. Of course, then me, I will, of course, when I enter parliament, when you enter parliament, definitely you work with government. Whether you are NUP, whether you are other parties, you definitely start working with the government. And I will not be different from those who are working with government. After all, you are going to work for the people. Everything we want, the government programs that you're going to implement for the people of Kawempe come from government. I will definitely cooperate to make sure my people get services.
All right. RDC. Commissioner, rather.
Yes,
Senior.
RDC is your name.
Senior.
Okay. The Honorable Namugga made some accusations about the fact that you might be in the know on the operations of RDCs within Kawempe North right now. Kawempe North alone is not even a city that has an RDC, but we have, how many did you say, Madam Namugga?
No, we're close to above 150.
150 resident district commissioners.
And their assistants.
And their assistants.
And it's very true, they are there.
No, very true.
They are there. Yesterday I met them.
Let's leave it to Mr. Bamwine.
Now, before I respond to the RDC question and deployment, I want to, first of all, help the country. We are in an election. For what? I've been very, very attentive to most of these programs and campaigns. There are no issues. They are not voter-based campaigns.
The stakes are beyond that.
Then
it's the reason.
Then the election is about what?
It's when you look at the amount of pressure that comes from the government, for example, you begin to think that maybe the issues have been relegated and it's a case of other stakes, and that Kawempe North must be taken by a certain party or candidate.
That answers my biggest concern. Because all the players in Kawempe now have forgotten that there is a service to be delivered by the member of parliament that is supposed to come. But unfortunately, these issues are not picked by many people. And I can tell you that's where we lose it as participants in politics. Whoever is elected, you find somebody has been elected, and people asking, but this one was elected to do what? Because the issues that affect this common person were not talked about. Because you must know what are the situations in Kawempe, what are the problems, what is this member of parliament supposed to do.
Can I debunk that? Just for 1 second. When you say that people will question or tend to ask, why was this one elected? What are the issues? When there is what appears to be a systematic attempt by the government or the forces aligned to the national resistance movement to erase issue discussion from the space.
Well, I happened to, the other day, I watched on your TV, I saw the Prime Minister, Honorable Nabanja, Right Honorable Nabanja, and she was saying that Kawempe, why they needed to have a member of parliament from NRM, have been misrepresented for a long time by people who don't support NRM. And she was saying once we have a member of parliament who will bring issues well, drainage will be worked on, infrastructure will be worked on, and poverty will be tackled. I saw her myself. And if the Prime Minister was the candidate Farida Nambi, and she mentioned that, then I don't know where you say that NRM has not addressed it. In your TV. Now, let me let me
allow you take some little bit of time as you reflect on that, because we have to go for a break, but no doubt this conversation does continue straight after. Stay with us. You're watching Morning at NTV. We're discussing the Kawempe North by election and trying to understand if Mr. Bamwine's words are anything to go by. Why it's not an issue-based election. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us. If you're just joining us, welcome on board. It's the Kickstarter, and we are discussing the Kawempe North by elections. Campaigns are ongoing and expected to come to an end tomorrow as the constituency prepares to vote for a new member of parliament on March the 14th. And of course, the last few weeks have been very, very high stakes, including the contestation between the security forces as well as supporters of some opposition political parties. With me in the studio, I have one of the candidates, an independent, Hanifah Karadi. I have with me Fred Bamwine. He's a commissioner in charge of RDCs in the office of the Prime President, I must insist. And we also have Gorreth Namugga, Honorable Member of Parliament for Maogola County South. I had to be very specific about that. Before we went into the break, Fred Bamwine was put to the task to explain what is apparently massive deployment of RDCs and their assistants in Kawempe North, and that is an assertion that was made by Honorable Namugga. Mr. Bamwine, quickly tell us why you have deployed so heavily.
On the issue of deployment, one, I will first address the concern of the Kawempe people, and the one you started with of heavy deployment. Then she said soldiers in civilian
plain clothes, yeah.
You see, there is a word here in Uganda,
stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Keep in your lane, stay in your lane.
You see, when Namugga attempts to be a security officer, shifting from a member of parliament, she'll be making a very big mistake, because in security there is what we call OS, operating situation. And the operating situation of a given area determines what kind of deployment is required, and even the estimates of the threat. So what I want to assure the viewers is that, one, there has been a lot of intimidation, threats, words. We shall see what to do. And the government of Uganda, although there is a campaign in Kawempe, has not gone to sleep. The government of Uganda will make sure that the people of Kawempe will go for elections, elect the leader of their choice, and those who don't want to participate in their campaigns also do their own.
Let's be specific here and clear about the threats. Who is threatening who, and what have they said? No,
you are dragging me to the mud, but I'll go in. There is a party called the NUP, and unfortunately Namugga said it's a young party. When it was being formed, I was here. They met Kano Chizwe at a certain radio station. They said, for us, we have come with a different style. Don't tell us about intimidation, about when you're rigging, we have come in a different form. So don't tell us that. So it is not a new party. It came knowing the situation they are going to operate in. So recently, when the nominations happened, they had first of all, they had their press conferences. They have their leader. I have heard he's called the principal. He held a rally. They said, we are going to make sure we deal with everybody. Now, once you start saying those kind of things, Honorable Namugga is a member of parliament. Every month of June, like this one which is coming, parliament passes money for intelligence services. And the work of intelligence services is very difficult but simple. Is to ask, Honorable Karadi says she woke up, whom has she talked with, where has she gone, what is she planning? And once intelligence comes out with early warning signals and says there is likely to have insecurity by this person or this group, it is the responsibility of the security agencies to advise you and the government to advise you, you are not going even to go today. You have heard about preventive arrest? So, if you have a feeling that there is a heavy deployment in the Kawempe of any security agents, it is because of the operating situation. Some people have promised mayhem, and we shall make sure as a government mayhem doesn't happen. Now,
quickly.
Two, you mentioned about RDCs. maybe for the...
I think for this is just tell us is it true they are deployed?
For the record of the viewers, Kawempe has a deputy RCC called Haji Njuchi, with 2 assistant RCCs. So
a constituency that has 3 RDCs
yes.
right now has over 100 on account of OS.
As far as I'm concerned, if you read in the constitution, a resident district commissioner is assigned a district, and Kawempe is termed as a sub-district, and that's why they have a deputy.
Okay.
So the rest that Namugga is bringing on the table, even any other person, is because of the panic in the campaign. You know, during campaign, there's a panic mode where people want to attract sympathy, but
that's an argument.
As somebody responsible,
Mr. Bamwine, I can let me concede yes. right now yes. that on account of what you say is operating situation, it's a debate I don't want to go into. There's no way we can reach a point where we can say yes, these RDCs ought to be deployed the way they've been deployed. But let me just engage. You are a candidate in all this. NOP has faced the wrath of the RDCs and the security. Are you towing the line so well that no one is even concerned about your supporters doing anything out of the line? Are guidelines being followed? What are these guidelines that you are given by the police that if you, for example, delve into them, we can understand why NOP consistently goes into confrontation with the security forces? What do you do that NOP doesn't do?
Actually, even the deployment that is in Kawempe and the whole force from government is against me, not even NOP.
Not again.
They are not even talking about NOP.
Okay.
Even if Bamwine will agree with me. And Honorable, you all know that what is happening in Kawempe North now, the force that is there is all targeting me. Even all those meetings that are on with those RDCs that have been brought there, whatever they are talking about is, please fight Hanifah Karadi, fight that independent. They are even forgetting that there is an opposition, but which is okay. For them, they have to do that because they are seeing how my ground is. My ground is firm, and my supporters are strong, are firm. They are just waiting for 13th to tick the clock. Now, when we come to the issue of independence, how we are going to work with government, how we are going to, implement, how to revolutionalize the independence in parliament or legislation in parliament. One, as a person, right now I have my manifesto as an individual, as an independent candidate. When I enter parliament, of course, I will now try to see how to lobby for my manifesto so that the people of Kawempe get services. It's a lot that is being demanded in Kawempe North. The Kawempe North we are in a city, but there are so many problems that include even the basic needs. Water, there's a problem of water. The garbage collection, the garbage is all over. We don't have health facilities, much as we have the referral hospital, but the referral that for women, that one almost, it receives all people from other parts of the country. So the people of Kawempe, and looking at our population, we need more health facilities, at least on each parish, so that our people get services. When you look at education, Kawempe North, you can count one primary school for government. You can count one government school for secondary. That's why we have a number of children who are not going to school. There is a situation in Kawempe, much as we are now looking at parties, NUP, NRM, what, we are just concerned about parties, but we are not looking at the issues that are concerning the people of Kawempe. That's why I'm coming in as a unique candidate, attracting so many. The NUP is like, oh, this approach Hanifah is doing is different. The NRM is panicking. So we need to go back to zero down to what the people of Kawempe North want.
Okay.
So when I enter Parliament, of course, I'm looking at enhancing transparency and accountability, lobbying for my people of Kawempe North. I'm a team player. I need to, of course, work closely with the leadership, local leadership of Kawempe North. Whether you are NUP, whether you are FDC, DP, I've been calling upon the cooperation. If I enter Parliament, if anything, I want to put the Kawempe North Development Caucus. We sit down and look at issues from where we are and how Kawempe should be.
Okay, interesting word there, a development caucus for Kawempe North. It is a very first one to hear of in Uganda's political landscape. How it will work out, no doubt.
Like I said, it's it is a new chapter. These people are looking at a new chapter. They're looking at Hanifah's approaches that is so unique and touching the people of Kawempe. Okay. People are they are getting hopes in me, and that's why you find a lot of force.
No pleading, not leading, but no representative.
I'm getting even supporters. I'm getting supporters from NUP. Those who never got flag.
She's looking at you and like, oh my God.
Those who never got flag.
But anyway, the National Unity Platform finds itself in a spot of bother right now. That even if it does not focus on the issues, the stakes are high enough for it to cling and ensure that this particular position does not go to the National Resistance Movement or the independent candidate and stay with the NUP, because
but they have 5 independent candidates.
So what are the issues? Why are you skipping issues and focusing on the fact that this seat must be retained by NUP?
I doubt whether NUP is speaking is skipping the issues as alleged by you and the Honorable Bamwine.
I'm not alleging, I'm reporting. You
are reporting, eh? I only want to remind you that Kawempe, first of all, is a NUP stronghold. Be reminded of that. And we won the previous election 2021 by close to 65%. Get back to the results. And they had there were 10 candidates in the elections for 2021. And this is the same story that is coming again. And we had all the spheres of political parties, independents, FDC, and the NRM. And I want to tell you, NRM was in the 3rd position. They had their candidate who had 7,000 votes. In Kawempe, I want to remind you, 7,000, just 7,000, take the percentage of the number of voters. So I wanted to give you those facts so that the viewers can know that we are not in panic. My friend, my sister Karad, and this comrade, my veteran in the other DCs and whichever spaces that he does hold, we are not in panic at any time. And it's not that we are skipping the issues. We are very much aware of the issues in Kawempe. Much as the NRM government is deliberately diverting people from getting the issues, deliberately. That is why they are bringing the JAT on board. No, please write down if there is anything to tell me. That's why they are bringing JAT in this whole game. You saw how we are being, no, we cannot miss out on this, because if you threaten my candidate, you are equally threatening my win.
What is your
the way, please, Honorable Bamwine, I knew you as a disciplined cadre. Please take note. No, please. No, be disciplined for the first time. Disciplined for the first time. I want to inform the viewers that I want you to take, a reflection into how NUP was handled, our candidate, the Honorable Narukola, from the time of nominations. We cannot skip that, because we are pretending that this is a democratic election. We cannot skip that. Honorable Karadi, this time it is Narukola, next time it will be you. So the torture of candidates, you cannot take it for granted. The way our people were beaten, including the media. You saw the top TV, the other man who is already in hospital. The way, please, Bamwine, please. I know you'll drive me in a lane that I don't want to take.
No,
kindly,
don't.
Kindly, no. I want to this time
yourself.
A last warning to him. Honorable Bamwine, behave as a senior cadre. So no, because he's misbehaving.
Please.
That has not been you for the last time.
Conclude the submission.
You know, so when you look at all this, when you threaten our candidate, when you turn Kawempe into a war zone, we cannot just take it for granted. These are human rights issues. People are in hospital. People have been hospitalized. You've reached an extent of killing people. So, my dear, this show can even speak broadly at human rights issues than what you're talking about now. So, when you go to Kawempe, NUP is not missing out issues. We are very aware that Kawempe misses out on issues of health, We are aware of issues of the bad roads. Karadi was speaking about the issues of garbage. It's not Kawempe alone. Whatever you are speaking to is a national crisis. A national crisis because of failure by government to prioritize how our budget should be focused to priorities of the people. Okay. So we are aware that Kawempe and the whole country is very underserved when it comes to provision of basic services across the board. Right. And we have been addressing this. Lastly, no, you've denied me my time. You've given them a lot of time. Karadi is NRM, Bamwine is NRM. I'm the only opposition here. No, independent NRM. So how I wish you would give me more time than them, because you've broadly brought NRM on board than. But allow me conclude.
You're using your time to debate something.
No, but I mean that is why you are cutting me off. I'm telling you, the challenges of Kawempe are national challenges, and everyone is alive to those. That is why when you take time to broadcast our rallies, we've brought them out. We've brought them out, but the challenge is this that made the NRM hold a caucus is the national cake. Right. The national cake, the priorities in funding. We have shortage of funds. So, Madam Karadi, you cannot do much if your government steals our money. Corruption should be fought to ensure that we have money to serve the people.
Anything can go on and on, but of course, within the constraints of time, I'm going to have to cut this short. We are approaching the end of the program. Many thanks. Honorable Gorreth Namugga, MP for Magola County South, for making time. Many thanks to you too, Fred Bamwine, for staying disciplined before.
Very indisciplined, Commissioner. And that is why the RDCs behave like they are boss.
Independent candidate.
My candidate is in Alukola. I didn't even mention about it.
By election. And that will do it for this particular discussion. Anything, of course, can continue on our platforms, that is X and on Facebook. This interview will be relayed later on YouTube. You can take a look, but most importantly, as you prepare for the election, the voting in Kawempe North, stay disciplined, stay civil. That is the most important thing, and elect the leader of your choice. I'm Chris Higenyi. This is Morning at NTV.
Security should